What's going on, everybody? Funky Psychics here. Welcome back to the channel. Thank you guys for joining me. Today we're at the Tsali Trail in North Carolina. This is an off-road trail. Really excited to check it out. A couple different options as well. Hopefully looking to catch a few views. See you guys in a little bit. So now we are checking out the Tsali Trail. We are on the right loop. Yeah, this area has been great. I got here last night and staying in a local cabin, which is really cool. Show you guys that in a little bit. You can tell a lot of attractions here. They got some rafting, other different options as well. And this here, it's all about getting out in nature, where visitors have the option to see multiple waterfalls and the Great Smoky Mountain Railroad. You can go fishing, horseback riding, zip lining, whitewater rafting, kayaking, and gem mining, just to name a few. The Tsali Trail is located in Bryson City, in North Carolina at the Tsali Recreation Center. Located in the Fontana National Forest, the recreation area is a world-renowned 42-mile trail system featuring 4 primary loops, with the right, left, Mouse Branch, and Thompson loops. These trails are famous for their flowy, single-track, stunning overlooks of Fontana Lake and the Great Smoky Mountains. They operate on an alternating schedule with horseback riders, so visitors should always check ahead and read signs at the trailhead to see which loops are open for bikes or horses on any given day. The Tsali isn't considered very technical, but with its flowing layout, it's an incredibly fast and hard-packed single track that just rolls on forever. Even without the extreme climbs, it's still a good workout. Got my Giant ATX with me today. One of the first bikes that I've had. Considered a hybrid, but I feel like it's, with the wheels and setup, it's pretty rugged. Aluminum frame. I'm considering getting a newer mountain bike with more features and suspension, and debating if that's something that I really want to do. It would be cool to feature more trails like this on the channel. If you guys have any bike ideas or helmet suggestions, let me know in the comments. And for this trip, I stayed in a local cabin that was right in the area. And when thinking about a traditional cabin in the mountains, I assumed it was just gonna have the basics, but not this one. It included an amazing wood decor with a nature vibe, full kitchen, 2 bathrooms, a game room, hot tub, barbecue grill, fire pit, and beautiful views from the full-size balcony. I've always wanted to stay in a nice cabin, and this place was definitely it. The only issue here was a lack of Wi-Fi and an intermittent phone service due to its location in the mountains. Other than that, it was great. If anybody's interested in cabin rentals like this one, I'll leave a link in the description. And this is not a paid ad or a sponsorship. I just wanted to share this amazing place with anybody who ever considered or were interested in doing something like this. It's definitely worth it, and I hope to return in the future at some point. It's impossible to ride here without finding out more about the man this well-known trail is named after, Tsali. But to understand Tsali, you have to understand the betrayal that led him into these mountains. In the early 1800s, the Cherokee were a sovereign nation with their own government and language. They had treaties like the Treaty of Halston in 1791 that guaranteed their land would be protected forever. They were part of the 5 civilized tribes: the Cherokee, the Chickasaw, the Choctaw, the Creek, and the Seminole. These tribes not only cultivated the land, but they were involved in trade, owned homes, represented governments, and sent their children to mission schools. By 1819, the political landscape began to shift. All territory to the east of the Little Tennessee River was ceded by the Cherokee government to North Carolina. As a result, the group of the most conservative Cherokees, known as the Traditionalists, decided to withdraw from the Cherokee Nation. Tsali was one of them. He lived a quiet life in a cabin near the mouth of the Nantahala River with his wife and 3 sons, provided for them by farming a small hillside plot and hunting. Tsali's quiet life would be forcefully shaken by the outside world starting in March 1829. In this year, Andrew Jackson was inaugurated as the 7th president. Like many Americans, Jackson viewed the indigenous peoples in the country not as sovereign neighbors, but as subjects who were in the way of American progress. In May 1830, Jackson signed the Indian Removal Act. This allowed the government to take land that they wanted in the east for exchange for land that they did not want in the western prairies. Even when the Supreme Court ruled that the Cherokee had a legal right to the land, Jackson famously ignored it. He reportedly said that the decision was stillborn and refused to enforce it, effectively telling the court, "You made the decision, now you try to enforce it."
To force them out, the government used a sham agreement in 1835 called the Treaty of the New Echota. It was signed by a tiny unauthorized group of Cherokees, the Treaty Party, without the consent of actual tribal leadership. Despite a petition signed by 15,000 Cherokees protesting the treaty was a fraud, the path was set for removal. The horror reached Tsali's doorstep in 1838 when the Trail of Tears began. Soldiers came to round up Tsali and his family. As they were being forced towards the stockades, a soldier prodded Tsali's wife with a bayonet to make her move faster. Enraged, Tsali and his kinsmen fought back. In the struggle, some soldiers were killed. Tsali and his group fled deep into the mountains, the Great Smokies, where the U.S. Army couldn't navigate. The Army, unable to find them in the rugged terrain, made a brutal offer. If Tsali and those responsible surrendered for execution, hundreds of other Cherokees hiding in these hills will be allowed to stay. In 1839, a sacrifice was made. According to oral tradition, he surrendered to save his people. Tsali stood before a firing squad. At his request, he was shot by his own people rather than the soldiers. This act of martyrdom ensured that the remnant group could remain on their ancestral land. There is also another account based on military records that stated that Tsali did not surrender but was captured and executed by his neighbor on behalf of the army. In both accounts, survivors of the incident were allowed to stay on the land. Their descendants would eventually become the Eastern Band of Cherokee Indians, who still reside here today on the Qualla boundary. Regardless of the events, one thing is for sure, all of the indigenous people suffered greatly at the hands of the U.S. government due to the need to expand with no consideration for their well-being. While Jackson is often remembered as a champion of democracy, many now view his treatment of the Cherokee as a form of depraved history. It wasn't just a policy disagreement, it was a choice to ignore the law and Supreme Court to facilitate what many today call as ethnic cleansing. The tragic irony here is that Tsali's grave, the very stockades where his people were held, are now submerged right beneath these waters in the Fontana Lake. It really changes your perspective when you ride on these shores knowing that this land is a sacred ground born from sacrifice. We'll learn a whole lot more about the Eastern Band of Cherokee Indians on our next ride on Fire Mountain. I hope you guys can join me on that ride. Riding the Tsali trails is truly an amazing experience. For those who enjoy getting out in nature and a bit of speed, this is definitely a destination to consider. The trails are easy to navigate with great signage and key locations to keep you on track. Between the amazing ride, natural beauty, and the deep history of the land, this is a ride you just can't miss. Thanks for joining me on this journey today. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. See you all soon. Be safe and take care.